SBA Nation. It is I, your glorious, your infamous host, Terry Tugboat, joining you today for our final of the SBA edition. We have decided to bundle our semifinal and semifinal recap and final podcast into one. We didn't feel like it would be worth it to just go over two matchups and then preview the finals. So we are going to record the semifinal podcast before the championship and then preview the final after it and then recap the final after it, so that you have all that to look forward to today. This is our second to last podcast of the year. Hard to believe, I know, but we will be joining you sometime in January, probably, to do a end of the year awards ceremony for our SBA members, those who deserve nominations for the right reasons and some for the wrong. My gosh, oh my gosh. But moving on, we will get straight into things, starting with our sponsor. Weeks ago, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes suffered a devastating torn ACL and PCL at the end of the Chiefs game with the Chargers. Backup Gardner Minshew would come in and the Chiefs would lose that game, eliminating them from playoff contention and making the rest of the league filled with joy this Christmas. However, in the following game, just 8 plays later, the backup Gardner Minshew would also suffer a torn ACL, leaving the Chiefs with third stringer Chris Oladokun under center, and things did not go well. Needless to say, they need Mahomes and maybe even Minshew back as soon as possible. And recovering from their torn ACLs, Mahomes also a torn LCL, I believe, in there, so he's got some work to do. But the solution, a man who specializes in ACL injuries, Dan the N and Dan the N PT. Dan has been working in rehab education and sports therapy for over 25 years. He currently works at University Orthopedics, and Dan loves ACLs more than anything else in the world, including some other important things. But Dan's podcast centered around ACLs, and the Chiefs, if they are looking for their signal callers to be back at full strength as soon as possible, I think the big old face on the left of your screen there is the way for them to go. So thank you to Dan the NPT for sponsoring these videos. This video rather, and we will see if the Chiefs get in touch with him. Anyway, these were your semi-final matchups. Lamar, you ready for it? Taking on Philly Special. Albion did get the win in that one. Andrea put up a respectable performance, 133.4 points from her. Normally wins you the game, just not when you're playing Albion, who, despite Michael Pittman and Christian Watson both producing only just over 5 points of busting, the 37 from Trey McBride, 31 from James Cook, 22 from Jalen Hurts, and then 16 and 15 from Michael Wilson and Zay Flowers, respectively. Al just with an all-star lineup, despite Jonathan Taylor having seemingly fallen off these past couple weeks, but the talent on the rest of his team able to carry Al through that one. And Andrea didn't really have any guys have a bad week. I mean, Cooper Kupp got above his projection, as did Rico Dowdle, as did Harold Fannin, as did Wan'Dale Robinson. But Jaylen Warren, a bit of a letdown. Only thing for her, just her guys just couldn't keep up with what Al came up with Andrea, no 30-point scores, although B. John Robinson did come close with 29 points in his big game for the Falcons. But again, Trey McBride, 37, 134 yards, 12 catches, 2 touchdowns. Really, really contributed to Al's big win in that one as he advances to the championship game. In our other semifinal matchup, we saw Team GABA fall at the hands of her son, Sean Stewart, despite Patrick Mahomes only putting up 13 points. Again, we mentioned that injury, hadn't had the best game before that, but 24 from Josh Jacobs, and then the story of the night for Sean was Kyle Pitts. Perhaps the biggest what-if story in NFL history, finally arriving. 3 touchdowns, 166 yards, 11 points, 45 points, the most by a tight end in the last 5 fantasy seasons. This is what many people thought Kyle Pitts could be. Coming out of Florida, hasn't shown it, has been injured a lot in the NFL, but boy, if Sean can get another one of those performances in the championship, he might just have what it takes to take down Albion, considering he was the only team that was able to accomplish that during the regular season. From Team GABA, Jackson Smith and Jigba continued to put up numbers, but disappointing weeks for Tyler Algier, Dalton Kincaid, Jalen Waddle, who's been doing well, did not have a great week, as neither did George Pickens, who is having a career year. So a lot of guys let Team GABA down this week. Despite being originally projected by 13, she lost by nearly 50. So Sean with a lot of momentum going into the championship game. Also a big performance from Josh Jacobs, who had 73 yards and 2 total touchdowns. And we will see if he has what it takes to defeat Al, in the championship next Sunday. It is now that next Sunday, and the game has arrived. Al versus Sean, the highly anticipated rematch. Sean, the only team in the regular season to get the better of Al. You look at the key players for both sides that have to show up in order for each team to have the best shot at victory. And we are here the Tuesday following the game, and we now know the results, which we will share with you live. Philly special, Albion. It's only right if he capped off the season in style. Obviously, he couldn't get the perfect regular season. Fell to the team he just beat by a score of 134.2 to 111.72 in the championship. In our final game, Al took that first loss. I know that hurts, but he did put up 134 points, much lower on Sean's side, but also Al's side than Yahoo's original projection. Projected it to be a 6-point game, high-scoring affair. Sean, a lot of guys, we mentioned those playmakers, just really didn't show up. You talk about Josh Jacobs, who was his second highest scorer last week, had 36 yards and a fumble, only 4.8 points. J.J. McCarthy continues to not be an NFL quarterback. Xavier Worthy, Jaden Higgins, all with slow games. Although A.J. Brown, Juwan Jennings, and Devontae Chain, and again, Kyle Pitts with strong performances for Sean, but there wasn't a real X factor in this game. 3 guys above the 10-point mark. 4 guys, rather, above the 10-point mark. None into the 20s, and despite having kind of a well-rounded week, there were a bunch of busts for him, and Sean just didn't have enough to get it done. Meanwhile, on the other side, for Al, Trey McBride didn't have his best week. Michael Pittman didn't have his best week. Jalen Coker didn't have his best week. Jonathan Taylor with 16 points, but the story was James Cook with 27, and Zay Flowers also right behind him with 21. Cook, 27.9 points, 2 total touchdowns, had a monster Beastquake-like touchdown run against the Browns from 50-plus yards, which also gives points in the league. And then Michael Wilson with 13, Jonathan Taylor with 16, and his quarterback Jalen Hurts with 19 in that game. So Al is officially your 2025 SBA champion. We knew when Team GABA lost last week that no matter what, we would have a new champion, Al or Sean, neither of whom had ever made the finals. So we knew either way there was going to be a new name on the trophy. As a reminder of our league history, in the first season, Dan Bien took down Wendy, who was no longer in the league, in the final. In the second season, 2020, it was New York BB's Bruisers at the time, Maryland Bien, taking down Wendy once again. The following year, Colby Bien emerged victorious against Pop in the final. The following year, it was Dan Bien winning again, and then Team GABA, and then another Colby BN victory last year. So we've been around 7 seasons now. In our 7th season, it was Albion. Much deserved after the season he's had. Again, 12-1 in the regular season. Dominated the whole way through. Out the gate, was putting up 180 points on a regular basis. That was the average, I believe, for him for the first 5 weeks. So well deserved for Al as he moves to hold the trophy the next year. And we'll see about the potential yard sign that will be in Queensbury, New York, depending on what Maryland BN has to say about that. A final look at the bracket here. Al, Andrea, Sean, and Gabba all winning in the quarters. Al and Sean in the semis. And then, of course, we just talked about LBN winning on our final. Not as high scoring as last year's playoffs. We noted a couple weeks ago the games, especially between Pop and Mike, and then Colby and Mike in the finals, who scored 200 points. Although we do want this week give some applause to Daniel Bien, who put up 198 points. Still so close to that 200-point threshold, although granted he didn't cross it, which he did not fail to mention 20-30 times this week about how he was that close, but still did not cross the 200-point mark, although we do want to give him his props for that. Alrighty, that will do it for our 2025 SBA season. Again, join us whenever our award ceremony and end of season recap podcast comes out. But that will have to do it. Congratulations to everyone this year, although some earned that congratulation, others didn't, especially Albion, our 2025 league winner. So well deserved once again after the kind of season he had. And Terry Tugboat signing off for now. We'll see you next time.